Hello YouTube, Aaron back here with the Ferrari F430. Just bought this thing less than a week ago and we're gonna start doing all of the maintenance on it because I don't trust anybody's maintenance records and there aren't a whole lot on this one other than what's on Carfax. So I'm gonna go ahead and just do all of the basic stuff, assuming it didn't have a 30,000 mile maintenance. This car has 37,000 miles on it right now. Shout out to awitalian.com. That's who I am going to start working with to get all my parts for the Ferrari. They're going to give me a discount and they're going to give you guys a discount just for watching. Here are the parts and things that I am going to be using. You guys use code DIY10 and you can get 10% off of all of these as well as anything that is on their website. I'm gonna need a 10 millimeter and a 19 millimeter hex socket. Now, what's up with this thing, you may ask? I just did my research the day that I was going to do the oil change. This actually is for motorcycle hubs. I realized I did not have a 19 millimeter. This thing is huge and not standard, and I can't get it at any local parts stores. I can only order it online. So I'll put a link to that from Amazon where I ordered mine, and it will arrive tomorrow. In the meantime, when I was searching Amazon, it said that I had ordered this thing in the past and I had totally forgotten. So I found it in my toolbox and it should do the job for today. We'll have a standard one for the next time. So make sure you're aware and track one of these down. They're not easy to find beforehand. We have our Ferrari oil filter. This is a requirement. You can only get these things from Ferrari. They are expensive, but you gotta do it. It's kind of cool. This one actually has like a rubber cap on the bottom of it, so fancy. And then we have this as part of the kit from AW Italian, and it has the crush washers, or actually maybe that fill plug goes to something else and I ordered it separately. Can't remember, we'll figure it out. And importantly, although expensive, one-time purchase, this is the correct tool for your filter. All the videos that I have seen online, people just use the kind that grab on them and twist them off, and then they're just putting them on by hand without torquing them. It is very important on these cars. These things have to go to 30 Newton meters, and the only way to do that is use one of these tools. So suck it up, buy one if you're gonna do this yourself. You're already saving yourself a ton of money. Just buy it one time. These cars require 5W40 synthetic oil, so you can use the oil of your choice. I prefer liquid moly, so this is what I'm gonna be using. All right, so 10 quarts. So 10 quarts is about 10 quarts is gonna come out. So you're also gonna want a big catch can to catch it all. One of the plugs dumps a lot, you'll see later on. So make sure you have something to catch it all when you take it out. All right, that was step 0. Step 1, the fun step. We have to warm up the oil. So that means fire this thing up. I'm gonna take it for a little bit of a drive, not too far. These things do seem to take a while to warm up on the temperature gauge. So I'm going to go do that. Pull it back in and then we'll get it up in the air. So here's a spoiler alert of the shop manual talking about some of the stuff we're gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and check where the oil is at now before replacing it, just because I'm curious, and to do this procedure you have to have the engine warm and running to check it. Shall we? We got the engine running, and this thing might be hot. Somebody has a rag. Let's see. No, not hot. Warm. I'm going to make sure the Ferrari is facing the right way. All right, let's change the oil. All right, so actually we're going to keep this off. Ooh, it's getting warmer now. Take this and the dipstick out, set it out of the way so that the oil can drain better. All right, gotta go ahead and lift the vehicle now so that you can get underneath it. I have another video, I'll put a link up here on how you can use a 2-post lift. It also shows you where the jacking points are underneath. If you don't already know, check that out. All right, all the fun happens on the rear of this vehicle. So we're gonna come under here, we're gonna find a couple plugs. This plug is covering up one of the drain bolts. This little cover here is covering up the oil filter. Now you can take the whole panel off and do this and see everything. I'll do that later, but I'm gonna do it just this way for right now to show you how you can do it without removing the whole top. And then we have one more plug up here that covers the one where you're gonna get lots of oil. I like to use this sort of setup to catch my oil and other fluids, mostly so that I can see how much I get out without it just going down into here and then not knowing also if there's anything in the oil or fluids. I can see it through here as I dump it into another container. All right, so we're just gonna follow along with the factory manual, and it essentially says you undo the 2 plugs. Now they took off the whole cover, so that's what the bottom of your engine and sump and stuff looks like. Like I said, we're gonna do it the quicker way, assuming you are just changing the oil and don't need anything else in there. So I'm just gonna use a little pry tool and pry these little caps right off, and you can see the drain plugs here. Now I assume that I might get a little bit of oil in here underneath this panel, but we're just gonna see how it works like this. I'm gonna be taking the panels off next anyway, so I can clean them up if there are any spills. Here's what that little cap grommet thing looks like. Of course, everything I take off, I'm going to clean and make all nice and pretty again. All right, this one furthest to the rear of the car is the big one that's gonna dump out a ton of stuff. The one up here is gonna dump out less oil. So I'm gonna start with this one up here. Yep. All right, I got this set up. I have my 10mm hex here. And let's give it a whirl. That sounds pretty tight to break off. And then it's very easy to turn. I'm gonna go ahead and get gloves. All right, about to have some fun with some hot oil. Oops. Yeah, a little bit splashy, not terrible. All right, glad to see the oil is not unreasonably dark, so it hasn't been poorly maintained. It looks like I got about between 2 and 3 quarts out of that opening. All right, while we're waiting on that to finish draining, I'm gonna go ahead and remove this panel. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 T15 bolts in it. They're little tiny T15s. And they each have a little washer with them. All right, pointing towards the front of the car over there, you can look up here and we see our oil filter that we will be removing. It's got a nice little rubber boot here on it. I think what this does is when you start unscrewing it, all of the oil will come out here and drip out of here nicely to catch it instead of pouring all over in here. All right, this is the old one that came out of here. You can see, I think this looks like it's rubber in here, which is interesting. So I think maybe next time I do this, I will replace this as well, just to be sure. But for sure, you definitely want to replace the crush washer. That came with the kit, so I'm going to take that off, get a new crush washer. Pop our new guy on here, and I'm going to reinsert this and thread it in by hand until it's hand tight. Now, it's been about 15 minutes. This is down to a super slow drip, so I'm just going to clean up the area there with a rag. All right, you can see that our engine oil drain caps go to 75 Newton meters, so I'm gonna go ahead and torque that one back. I'm doing it slightly out of order just because I have one canister I want to catch all the oil in, and there's 3 different spots I need to move it. Now this is kind of considerable since it's like 40 or 50 Newton meters for the Porsche drain plug. We just barely don't need an extension, and all right, 75 Newton meters. I always like to use a pen to witness mark the things I've torqued down so I will remember. All right, I can see whoever did it previously did it in yellow. That's good form, so we'll go right over that in blue. I'm just gonna take my handy dandy filter removal tool and we're gonna take that filter off. All right, so far, other than the tools, no different than changing this on a Honda Civic. All right, got that on there. And again, move this out of the way a little bit. Get a little more length on this. And remember, again, this is on like, what was it, 30, 40 Newton meters, so they're gonna be tight for a reason. Still tight, still tight. Yeah, looser. Yeah, it's gonna take a while before you can do it by hand. So if you tried to install this hand tight, it was way too loose, and the engine vibrations have a really good shot of having this thing unscrew and have you dump all of your oil. So, all right. Just a little bit loose. Oil's starting to come out. Back this up just a touch. And I was expecting it to come up over the outer lip of that rubber thing, but, oh, I see. There's a hole in the bottom of it. That's cool. So yeah, the hole shoots it all out towards us. We will dump the rest. Bravo, Ferrari. All right, here's our new Ferrari filter with this cool little protective cap on it, I guess. Pull that off. All right, I'm gonna take a little bit of engine oil and we are going to lubricate this black plastic grommet. That's gonna help it not bind when we put it on and get to the right torque. All right, we're still dripping a little, but I wanna clean up everything I can. And then we're just gonna spin it on by hand. Takes a little while to find the right angle. And then it spins on nicely. All right. That should stop it from dripping, so now we can clean up all of the excess oil down here. And it shouldn't drip anymore. And we're back to the torque wrench for 30 Newton meters. So I can push my catch can out of the way. Got plenty of room down here to access this guy. and tighten him up. All right. 30 Newton meters. And yes, I'm even gonna witness mark our filter. All right, last but certainly not least, we are gonna drain this guy. This is our 19 millimeter, and it should be fun. All right, remember, this is where you need your big, gigantic ass 19 millimeter hex. Mine, I have to use a 17 millimeter socket on the bottom of it, but it does fit in here, so that is a good sign. Let me get this nearby and break it open. All right, that is tight. Okay, I'm trying not to drop my tool in there this time. Get this centered and ready for the rush. Almost. Nice. Oh, yes. Oh, they're not kidding about that. Maybe next time I just let this drop. I don't know. All right, it doesn't last too long, but it does last. Here is what we took out with a giant crush washer that we're gonna replace. See the old witness mark? See the whole floor? Yeah, well, good thing that this is nicely sealed. That will wipe right up. All right, I got that put back in hand tight. Now we gotta clean up all this oil and torque it down. It got a new crush washer, also going to 75 Newton meters. All right, there we go. Don't forget your witness mark, and we're gonna put that cap back on, this panel back on, and put this thing back down on the ground. Now, just for completeness, the manual talks about replacing a filter that is under this is where we took out that big bolt where all the oil came out. So there are 4 more screws, and then you can remove that plate. And then once you get that, there's like a little clip that holds it in place. You can pull the filter out, you can clean the filter, you could replace the filter. There's a little O-ring back there that you can replace. All of that stuff, from what I've read on Ferrari chat, is that don't do that. Just skip that step. But if you want to do that step, here are the procedures from the workshop manual. All right, the question you might be wondering, and I am wondering, how much oil do we get out of this thing? All right, just under 9 liters, and that is with a little bit splashed on the floor. So I can say we took a solid 9 liters out of here, which seems to be about what people are putting in them online. So I'm gonna put 9 liters in. All right, we're going red Ferrari funnel because why not? Open these up. I'm gonna dump this whole one in. All right, 5 liters. All right, I'm gonna pour 4 of the 5 liters of this in. I'm gonna let you guys hear this after about half of this bottle. It really sounds like the sound changes, like it's getting full. I assume it's not gonna overflow when I put 9 in, but I'll let you know. All right, no overflowing. It just sounded like it was going to. So we're all good. I just cleaned up the old oil on the top. Gonna put the cap back on, and we're gonna fire it up and warm it up again. Oh man, everything on this thing is a work of art. All right. All right, again, to check the level, to make sure it's good, you are supposed to start the car, and it says that you are supposed to run it at 4,500 RPM. I guess that means RPM. Never seen that. Until you reach 89 degrees Celsius, and then you keep the engine idling, you unscrew it, and we do what we did at the beginning. So I'm gonna fire it up again, let it idle, let it warm up a little bit, and recheck. Make sure you look under the car. Look for leaks. All dry down here. It also gets your oil pressure up there when you rev it. Alright, it's still all the way at the minimum for me. So I'm going to put another half quart in. There we go. It is right in the middle. All right, you can see how much is left in this bottle. This is the 1 liter mark here. So it took about 9 3/4 liters for me. All right, job complete. That was satisfying. Guys, please give the video a thumbs up if you learned something, were entertained, any of those fun things. And we'll see you guys on the next video.